Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll learn to become a better, more business-savvy designer so you can dominate your competition. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm talking about 11 ridiculous client requests and how to respond to them. I wanted to do a funny, yet not so funny episode about things that clients often ask us graphic designers and how we can reply to these requests while leaving our dignity and respect intact. Because as you know, sometimes being a graphic designer is hard, and we often get demanding requests, sometimes disrespectful ones for that matter, or some that make us sit back and go, Clients and designers don't always speak the same language, and sometimes we get a good chuckle from certain requests. They also might think it's a fun, easy job, or think it's about making things look pretty. As designers, we need to acknowledge the request, educate them, and respond professionally. They don't do this work every day, and what we do seems to be elusive to most people. I mean, I think most of my friends still don't understand what a graphic designer does. And we can't always laugh about these things when we're in the moment and they actually happen, but we can laugh about some of these things later on. Well, not all of them, but some of them. Some might actually make you still cringe. So let's get into 11 crazy client requests and how to respond to them. The first one is, can you do it for less? Some clients may simply be looking for cheap, and some cannot help but feel the need to try to nickel and dime. And some are bullies who just want to push your boundaries. None of them are your ideal client. Others who ask you to do it for less may really want to work with you, but simply can't make the investment. Although my typical experience with people who respect my expertise and cannot afford it or budget it right now don't usually ask this. They usually say they will get back to me after they've come up with it, and then they have. If you're asked this, there are ways to accommodate them without sacrificing your integrity or position as an expert. You can say, sure, I can do it for less. What can we remove from the scope? Or can we do it over a longer time frame? Or could we do it in phases instead to spread out the full initial investment? Another one is, can you do it by tomorrow? This can be a huge red flag, especially if this is a prospect and not an existing client. It can mean they're unorganized. It could potentially mean more than that. Maybe they don't respect your expertise or they're trying to take advantage. Maybe a few times from an existing client is okay. I mean, things do come up. But when it's all the time or when it's from a prospect, beware, unless they're willing to pay for it. Because what they're asking for you to do is drop everything for them. Just the other day, I got a request from a prospect to get something done before the next day. I keep normal business hours. It was 3 p.m., so that meant I would have needed to get a signed contract, money up front, and get the work done before 5 p.m. How in the world was that going to happen? A long time ago, I had a client for many years where it seemed everything was needed immediately. And I got sick and tired of being their monkey. They treated me like an employee, not the expert that I wish to be seen as. And they were never willing to pay for it, but they always wanted top priority. I eventually got fed up and fired them. The types of clients where everything they request is an emergency, well, it's not heart surgery for crying out loud, but the types of clients where everything is an emergency diminish the value of the work. And they think it should be quick and easy, whether it is or not. And they also rush you, and that may mean that you don't do your best work. The third one is, can you make the logo bigger? This is a common request from clients that easily earns an eye roll. I haven't gotten this one in a long time, thankfully, but when it has happened, what I usually do is assess how the logo is being used. This one time I remember it was in a running header in a brochure, and I explained that the purpose of the logo was not to showboat the brand there. It was only serving as a reminder of the brand. It was already much larger on the cover where it needed to be to showcase the brand and say, hey, this is who this is from. So if you get this request, I know you will, so it's a matter of when, not if, you could respond by asking the reason for the request. Do they maybe not feel it's prominent enough? Maybe it's on a background where it doesn't have a lot of contrast. Maybe there's a lot of other text near the logo that's competing with it. So assess the situation and provide a response that addresses the underlying concern, which may or may not mean the logo needs to be bigger. Can you make it pop is a bit of a comical and vague request. What does make it pop really mean anyway? Designers have pondered this question since the beginning of time. It means different things to different people. Does it mean to use bright colors? Does it mean to make something bigger? Does it mean to make something stand out? Does it mean to add a drop shadow or an outline? Does it mean to add a more contrasty background? It's anyone's guess, really. So it's usually best to ask the client what they mean, what they perceive to be the issue. Number 5 is, can I send you a draft to get started? Now, clients are often trying to be helpful when suggesting that they send you the copy to get you started. But as you know, the content drives the design, and design is not decoration that's divorced from the content. So we must educate them about this. Plus, if they change the copy, it can mean that there will be a lot of rework, a lot of checking for the differences in copy, or laying it out all over again, or rearranging the design or the layout to fit the revised copy. I remember once working on this awful brochure many years ago where the client decided to rewrite everything on like the third draft or something. It changed so much in the layout. And so that's when I decided to add to my contracts that revisions are expected to decrease with each round, not be more. And then I specifically would state no rewrites. So when a client asks me this, I say no, and I explain why it's a problem. But if they ever want to send me a draft to review for estimating purposes, that is actually really helpful. Number 6 is, can you make it look just like this? They might say this because they think they're trying to be helpful by bringing you the solution. They don't realize, though, that their personal tastes are subjective and they may not be appealing to their target audience. And that's really who you're designing for. But what works for another company's branding doesn't necessarily work for another. So what they think about another company's design might be that the design is on target for that brand. Plus, there's a thing such as copyright infringement, so you've got to educate them about this. Can you use these images I found online? A client reveals they just found images from a Google Images search, and I can hear you screaming. First off, they won't be high enough resolution for print. But there's a bigger issue here, copyright. We have to educate clients about this before the design process. Tell them where they can legally find images online or that you will find them. It's also a good idea to protect yourself from these situations too. And I have to preface this with, I'm not a lawyer, but in my contracts, I say that clients must have gotten permission to use any copy or images that they send me. Number 8 is, it shouldn't take long. It shouldn't take long can instill fury into the heart of any designer. I mean, you work hard and you don't always get taken seriously, and that's aggravating. We graphic designers, though, can be good at making the job seem easy, so clients assume a lot of things are a quick fix. It shouldn't take long is akin to, I don't want to pay much for this. You can respond to this with, I'll send you an estimate. And that says, I will figure out how long it will take, or how long it will take doesn't matter because it's going to cost this much. Number 9 is, I'll know it when I see it. This is like a constantly moving target and you want to avoid it at all costs. I'll know it when I see it usually means change the design until you appease me. But the design is not about that person usually. It's about their audience. You can usually avoid subjective opinions like this by creating a creative brief at the beginning of the project that focuses on the client's goals, audience, and needs. And that way, you have something objective to refer back to and say, remember we talked about how the goal is for the business to look more modern? Well, using papyrus wouldn't help that. Number 10 is, we have just one last change. When this statement is uttered by a client, it's like a curse that it will absolutely 100% guarantee that that will not be the last edit. And so you go and make that one small change free, right? The next thing you know, you hear, oh, Bob reviewed this and found another edit we need here. Or, oh, while you're making that change, can you make this one too? And here's where we go from the final proof to final, and then to final. One change becomes many. Files have to be re-output. That free edit you made turns into an hour or more of edits that you should be charging for. When a client has done this to me, I have requested they sign an approval form and submit it back to me, acknowledging this is the final approved version. Give them a small hoop to jump through to get them to stop and think through if this is final or not, or does someone else need to review it? And my final ridiculous request is, and you're going to love this one, can you design this in Word? Now, while it's a good idea for clients to use a consistent design across their marketing materials, and that does include Word. Word is not a design program, as you know, and it doesn't help that it's so clunky to use. So I know you're ready to scream when you hear, can you design this in Word? I feel you, but I'm going to tell you how to do this, and you will never, ever hate designing for Word again. When I gave this tip at Creative Pro Week this year, jaws dropped, designers cheered. Okay, so let me share it. All you have to do is design the document in InDesign. export to PDF. Open the PDF in Acrobat and export to Word format. And when you do that, click the gear icon to adjust settings, and then you're going to click Retain Flowing Text. And then, magically, your headers and footers will be set up like that in the Word file. When you open it up in Word, you'll see it. So next time you get asked for a Word document, try this. You can thank me later. I know there are many more I didn't even get into. Let me know in a comment what client request makes you cringe when you hear it. If this content was helpful, you can support the podcast by buying me a coffee. It might actually end up being a glass of wine or some tea, but you could go to buymeacoffee.com/creativeboost.